I want to pass the baton to our panelists today. I'm passing the baton to Femi Boyede to moderate this very wonderful session. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you again, our beautiful Lady K. And once again, I welcome those who joined after the previous welcome. By the time we go into the serious business of the day, the luxury will not be there again to welcome. So please, you can pass on to whoever is coming in after this particular welcome. Yeah, I welcome you all. And just like I said earlier on, we are seeing participants from across the globe. I can tell you for free that Nigeria's commercial representative in South Africa is on this call. I saw when he was admitted in. Your Excellency, we welcome you. So many others. If I started to name one by one, then we will not live here. The business of the day is quite simple. I will start with what we all know and what some of us that I know on this platform have been on since the past 30 years or so, trying to preach the gospel of an export-driven economy, because the truth is just that there is no alternative to it. Export remains the most ready solution to the current fluctuating exchange rates and depleting foreign reserves of Nigeria. Export remains the immediate solution to the difficulty of Nigerian parents in sourcing the foreign currency to pay for the fees of their children that they have sent abroad. Export remains the only solution to people going for medical attention and what have you, who will probably need to, these days you apply for BTA, you are on the queue for probably 4 months and stuff. If we had an export-driven economy where export is the second language of everybody, and it is very possible to be, then the stress on foreign exchange coming from only one source will be removed. That's the reason why we are here. And we have sung this song so much, S-U-N-G, this song, S-O-N-G, so much that it looks like our larynxes are beginning to falter. But we will do it one more time for the love of country. And hopefully, whatever it is that we're doing today will be passed on to the think tank of the incoming administration. So, like Lady K said, we're not making a presentation. We are talking to issues, and hopefully our panelists will help us to bring compact solutions that are presentable as strategies. I need to assure you that whatever we are doing today will definitely get to the destination that we are aimed for. So in preparing for moderation, I just, in no particular order, tried to list a few of the limitations to Nigeria's export growth. I have, in the area of policy, I think there are too many policies somersaults. In the area of understanding of the importance of export, I think it is still limited. I have had discussions at what I would call the very highest levels of the executive in Nigeria. And I am usually shocked when they say, what do you mean by incentives? This EEG, Shebi, it is dash that government is just dashing money to exporters. After all, export itself is a profitable business. I observe that over the years, and very deplorably as of this moment, the only, well, let me say the most functional export support instrument in Nigeria, the Export Expansion Grant, apparently no longer features in the national budget. I think the last time that it featured was about 3 years ago, when a paltry 2 billion naira was allocated for export expansion grant. And I think some of us questioned at that time who this was for. Because if a company is to earn EEG and this company is performing well, I can tell you off my head right now, 20 Nigerian companies that if it is actually EEG that they are waiting for, they will qualify for anything between 5 and 20 billion naira support on an annual basis. So when you bring out 2 billion, which I understand actually never gets to the NEPC. In terms of logistics, you will understand the International Trade Center in Geneva described export business as economic warfare, where competition is the most fierce. And all countries equip their foot soldiers, that is the exporters, with the most potent arsenal that they can develop. And if at that level, we understand export as a competitive, fierce battlefield, it is good that we are having this session today in order to sensitize the incoming managers of the Nigerian economy. Are we going to be looking, for example, towards proposing, I don't know, NEPC already has an export development fund. Should we be looking at an export revival intervention fund or something? I don't know. We want to look at the effectiveness of the policies that are rolled out by the Central Bank of Nigeria. A lot of these draconian, a lot of them, as they will say in my Bible, it says you are asking amiss. Amiss means it is not articulate, it is ambiguous, it has no basis or support argument. So should we then be looking at what can work? Again, we'll be looking at, during this discussion, the prevalence of the silo orientation of the agencies, the trade support institutions in Nigeria, where you have, on the one hand, you might have 20 agencies doing almost the same thing. Export sensitization, export readiness, capacity building, made in Nigeria, export-oriented exhibitions, and everybody applies a part of their budget to this. We will be looking at the possibility of proposing a review of the existing acts that set up and that direct the operations of ministries, departments, and agencies to see how they can be made to streamline and work together. There definitely need to be a streamlining of mandates. Yeah, Nigeria has suddenly is now the country where politics is actually a business. Politics, I thought, was supposed to be a service to the people, and the businessmen in the politics sector look at appointments as rewards for their contribution to the installation of power, whether it be at federal government, state, or local government level. And so you find out that in the composition of boards, people are given depending on the parties they belong to, not necessarily because of what they know. Is it okay to propose to the incoming administration to strike a balance between technocracy and political compensation, wherein your first qualification, even if you are a card-carrying member, I am very, very sure that every party in this country does have people who are knowledgeable about business and who, therefore, can go to represent their parties, divisions of their parties on the boards of, especially, I'm more concerned about trade support institutions, rather than just have people who are there to recover the money that they spent in helping the government, in quotes, to come to power. So the issues are plenty. The fact still remains very, very germane that it takes 3 months for a product of a Nigerian micro small enterprise to move from Nigeria, from Apapa or from Mile 2 to Banjul in the Gambia. Banjul is a hub for the distribution of Nigerian goods in that part of West Africa. With Nigeria being now not just a signatory, but has ratified the operation of the AFCFTA, it will be our business here to be able to suggest to the incoming administration how Nigeria can actually take very, very maximum advantage from this. So, of course, Lady K has introduced the eggheads who will be helping us to shape discussions around these topics today. So for now, I just wanted to throw up all of those points to see how we are going to go about it. Please, as a participant, we assure you that today, more than ever before, you will have the opportunity to ask the questions, to make your own views, and more importantly, usually advocacy is more potent when it is evidence supported. So for you players in the industry, I think it is an opportunity for you to, 1 or 2 or 3 of you, to come up and let us know how some of the policies, some of the operations, some of the challenges have impacted your business one way or the other. So when we talk about MDAs, you usually understand ministries, departments, and agencies. So it is not an us versus them thing. And so I believe that we can see people on the call today who have also held the position of leadership in chambers of commerce and in private sector groupings. That's why we have Dr. John Isemede, a former Director General of NACCIMA. I can see Bosun Sholari, who was head of export group of Lagos Chamber of Commerce and has been active in this field. And this is, so I invite you all to please make a contribution, and we trust that at the end of it, we will have a very meaningful presentation to the incoming administration. Before we plunge in, I think I would be inviting the technical team. They usually have one interlude or the other that they tantalize us with. Thank you.
This webinar is brought to you by Talking Trade and Investment Global, TATRIG. We are live on Facebook at Export Digest. Kindly follow our Facebook page. Also, do subscribe to our YouTube channel. You can follow us on Twitter at Export Digest TV.
Welcome back. And we're going straight into the business. John, Dr. Isemede, you have not only written books, you have gone across Africa as a what do they call them now? As an itinerant trader, and have held positions
not trader, beyond trader.
I mean, I knew you as far back as your days at the Liver Brothers Nigeria, before it became Unilever, and then Promasidor and what have you. Can you share with us in 1 or 2 minutes why the new incoming administration must prioritize export if the economy is to re-emerge?
Thank you very, very much. And participants and viewers across the globe. The assignment given to me is that things have to work. And as experts like us, some of us have been in the export business for close to 40 years. I have written books used by the best institutions in the world, and I have worked in more than 27 countries. That is the time now people like us have to stand at the back and guide the younger ones. In the first place, what of membership? East of Export UK, Ghana, Nigeria, and so on and so forth. How are we going to work? Nigeria got independent in 1960, and we have been in this business. Why are we not recording successes like other countries? As at the time we got independent, it was only 50 million people. Today we have 200 million plus, with over 600 agreements. Who is driving the policy is the question. There is nowhere in the world where we don't have political parties. Political parties are marketers. They come, sell their ideas and all that, and sign a social contract, which is manifesto. Why are things not working in Nigeria? One, if you assemble, the population of Nigeria is 210, and the jobless or whatever, the unemployed, if you assemble them in one place, be the fourth largest country in Africa with over 133 million. And the painful aspect of it, apart from the debt, as of today, we have a debt, no, in 2015, we had a debt profile, means and evil central bank of 789. And today it's over 23 trillion. How are we going to change? It's because of export. Tell me how we succeeded. When you talk of Sudan, we come out. When you talk of America, we come out. We were given the best. Look at the letter I used to get from Ministry of Foreign Affairs. It was called Ministry of External Affairs at that time. And these are things that will protect us wherever we go and come back. Boyede can give you a very good example of how we're able to stop a meeting in Dakar, being sponsored, being organized by the Belgian government. So the second level is not just because you contribute money for ABCD to acquire position. There is nowhere in the world where people don't work together. We need ministers like Agaga. I can give you the list of ministers in the First Republic, in the Second Republic, in the Third Republic. Now we're in the Fourth Republic. Look at the team of General Olusegun Obasanjo. Look at the team of the immediate past, and where are they today? We are proud of Mrs. Okonjo-Iweala. We are proud of ABCD. Jobs should not be given to people based on contribution. We are tired of running an IOU government that because you have made this, you should occupy this. So let me round up. If we have a minister who will come out and talk to me the way I am talking to you, we all clap. When I attend functions, if somebody is reading from paper, because of my age, I won't go up and say, you should refund me my money, because anybody can read from paper. Some of us give examples and tell you areas where we have worked. Our export manager of Unilever in 20 countries, in Cowbell in about 6-7 countries, set up the Dangote. So why are people like us, Boyede, Madam and all that, Sidi Ali, even if we are not given position, we should be recognized. The case of Sudan, I will share it with you later. It is wrong for Nigeria with foreign policy to tell people to go to Egypt. Hadn't be, I went to Sudan by road through Chad. No visa was required by Chad. These are the things that we should look inward and tell the incoming government that this is what we are owing. Look at what we have on ground. Look at the experts. We don't need to go to other countries. We have experts in Nigeria can bail us out. Based on the prelude he has given, the only hope is export, export, export. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Isemede. Quite a number of punchy suggestions there. I will be moving to Dr. Omolara Akanji. I'm sorry, Ma, I'm not putting you on the hot seat, but I remember very well my very first encounter with you. I led a team of directors from Switzerland, and I think that was when Nigeria for the first time was talking about export of services. And I still remember how vibrant that encounter was and all that came subsequently to Nigeria as a result of the path that we're charting forward at that time under your watch. With you as Director, Trade and Exchange, I would say during your tenure, we had a balanced, what do you call it, exchange environment. We had very provable, tangible, and visible growth in Nigeria's export. And I'm not too sure that we had a sizable number of policy somersaults. And policies at that time, I think, were thoroughly thought out and in consultation with the potential beneficiaries or victims. Madam, what do you think has changed? I feel bad asking the question because I'm bleeding inside me because a lot. Please go ahead. What has changed?
A lot has changed. A lot has changed. A lot has changed. We're talking about today's export we are emphasizing, but I am going to be inclusive in my discussion. We're looking at international trade, as it were. The international trade is both import and export. At that time that we were trying to ensure that we play safe and ensure that we have enough export revenue in our reserve. We were not looking at only hardcore export. We are also looking at services in terms of export. And so our import dimension was also quite scrutinized because we were not encouraging import of those things that can be put together in Nigeria, those things that can be done in Nigeria and produced in Nigeria. We were not encouraging them. And if you look at the trade policy, it is a situation of beggar my neighbor's situation.
Sure.
If you are strong in a particular commodity, you export that commodity, and where you are weak, you import such commodity. For example, we are importing a lot of petroleum. We are importing a lot of petroleum, while we are not exporting enough agriculture, which is our strength. I want to say it is our strength more than even oil. The oil, as this carbonization policy is coming up globally, the oil will dwindle, but agriculture had not been quite encouraged. And so, in terms of trade is against Nigeria. We have more import than export. So we try to balance the terms of trade. Looking at our balance of payment, we also look, we use statistics to trend balance of payment. I want to tell you that every day of my sitting on that desk, I don't close earlier than 12 midnight because foreign exchange markets is 24/7 globally. As a market is closing, another market is opening. And you trend it, you see your balance of payments. Balances as per latest advice. It comes to central bank in the midnight. So you will see how much we have in reserve in terms of money. And then you will have to ensure that you prioritize what will go to the market on a regular basis. And it takes a dedicated desk officer to do that on a daily basis. You must be able to prioritize, and you see the flows, the services flows that comes into Nigeria. You see the foreign direct investors coming into Nigeria. And because that is available, we were able to ensure that we put a policy in place that will say that when you bring your money into Nigeria, that money must stay in Nigeria for a whole year before you can say you want to repatriate. But all those policies are somersaulted now. So people will come in, when they see treasury bill price is going up, they'll flow in money to make money and flow it back the next month or in the 90 days. So those are the kind of thing that, the treasury management of foreign exchange flows is very important. And that is missing. That is missing.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Ma. We will still come back to you on one or two things that flow directly from the central bank. Dr. Alhaji Malam Sidi Aliyu, my Oga, we come to you now.
Yeah.
30 years plus trying to develop export, and I know that you were in membership of, and at some points also led teams that tried to formulate programs that would drive this message home. Now you are in retirement. Looking back, do you think there are some of those things that you tried to birth as a director, export development and incentives, director, corporate strategy, at some point the second in command at the Nigeria Export Promotion Council? I'm very sure there must be one or two things that you wish government had listened to and had taken up beyond rhetorics. Please, will you share one or two of such moments or ideas or concepts with us?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Boyede. Okay, it's a pleasure once more to be here. And just as you rightly pointed out, export promotion in Nigeria is something that has started for quite a long time. Let me even say as far back as 1976 or thereabout, when the Nigerian Export Promotion Council was established, the main objective was to see how non-oil exports will develop, how non-oil export will be promoted to enable non-oil export achieve a certain position in the Nigeria's gross domestic product and foreign exchange earning capacity. To my surprise, just as you pointed out, we are still looking at commodity exports as our main export products in Nigeria. We have not really done much in terms of manufactured products, value-added products. And it's also a pity that both yourself, Mr. Boyede, and Isemede had worked in companies that were prominently
exporters
promoting and executing exports. But what is happening to those companies? You'll be surprised that a lot of them have really gone under. So that is why when I became so interested when I was invited for this event, that we have to concentrate on forging out recommendations for the incoming administration. Quite okay, there are so many things that need to be articulated. And most of these things, if the government is really serious, they will be able to change the fortunes of non-oil exports in Nigeria. Let me just give you some few examples. Initially, we were having, the best way you can promote export, apart from creating the enabling environment, is to provide a set of incentives that have meaning for export development. Now, if you look at the manufacturing side of export, those incentives that were meant to promote export manufacturing they are no longer in existence.
No.
The pioneer status is just one that I believe is still being implemented by the Nigerian Investment Promotion Commission. But if we talk of the duty drawback scheme, the duty suspension scheme, these are schemes that could have aided manufacturing for export in a very easy way. You have raw materials that you need to import. Probably there are not enough of such raw materials in Nigeria. You need to augment by importation, or probably your production line is essentially established to use foreign raw materials. Those raw materials are not coming into Nigeria to be sold. They are coming into Nigeria to be turned into manufactured products that will be exported. So that is why the duty drawback was very key and germane. But unfortunately, that duty drawback island is still in the books of the Nigerian Customs Service, but I don't think anybody is implementing it. And also, there are some complementary schemes like the duty suspension scheme. Okay, fine. I want to produce for export. Let me bring in some raw materials to facilitate my cash flow. Suspend the payment of the duty. Let me produce and export. Then if there are any that are sold locally, you can now establish that duty associated with that, and I will pay for it. Then another thing, Femi, that is still baffling my mind. How is it that since the abolition of the commodity boards or the marketing boards, up to now, Nigeria has not really achieved that level of commodity export as was the case during that period, which means we were hasty in taking that decision, or even if the decision was right then, there is a need to really go back, study it very well, and see how a semblance, it may not come as a commodity board per se, but it should come in a way that will promote the export of commodities in Nigeria rather than leaving it to the individual exporters. The individual exporters are facing quite a number of challenges. And if you allow them on their own to do that, the burden on them will be too much that we cannot generate the necessary volume and capacity that is needed for commodity export to make any impact in Nigeria. Ghana, up to now, is still operating the cocoa board. And I don't think we have anything like that in Nigeria for now. And that is why we realize that despite our position in cocoa production worldwide, coffee production worldwide, cashew, etc., we are just going down and down and down. So honestly, Boyede, I would recommend that at the end of whatever we are discussing, we need to bring out a small communique to present to government, because government has to show all level of seriousness to promote non-oil export in Nigeria. And that is the only way for the survival of this economy. Thank you.